Is that so? That's what your dream is. I'm really worried. What? I shouldn't be doing this, but I really can't help it. After hearing this right in front of me, I can't take it anymore. My father is going to be so angry, but, oh well. It's a bit of a shame for you, but perhaps you won't make it to the finals. You could die or become incapacitated on the way to the finals. That's why I want to settle it now. I don't know if you're the strongest yokai among the contestants. But you definitely have the dreams that are really worth crushing. Ah. Just in case you can't focus, this is an empty palace, so there isn't anyone to get caught by. And I know saying this isn't going to help much, but, if I get hurt or die, that will never happen because of you. The catastrophe finally arrived. Saiwu realized that she was not an opponent who could be talked out of anything. On the other hand, he felt relief from at least one fact. That she is strong enough to not get hurt or die. I apologize. The yokai are beings that are neither killed easily, nor destroyed permanently. He knows this from prior experiences, so he focuses his energy solely on subduing his opponent. No matter how good her regenerative abilities are, her brain shaking from the blow will affect her no matter what. If the brain is shaking constantly, accumulating vibrations, it's possible to do damage that lasts a little longer than the regeneration. Of course, that's not enough to overpower her. Concussion is just the build-up to a more decisive strike. Saiwu is unaware that the application of the goblin bat, which he spent the last week devising, was once a common technique among goblins. Ghost hunting rope. I didn't realize it would work so neatly, but... Subjugation complete. East Sea Palace, Blue Sea Palace. Who do we have here? Our reliable general, visiting at this late hour without the king's command. Bekio, right general of the East Sea Dragon Palace. You, who hate the political games and avoid not only the royal court where all officials gather but even the palace grounds itself. If you know it's presumptuous, then swallow your words and speak when you come back next time. For now, this is a time solely for myself. Unlike you, a general who can gracefully ignore unpleasant matters, I am a pitiable monarch who has to deal with them every day. So pitiable, that I need to drink alone like this once a week just to barely manage. And occasionally keeping an eye on the trends of the land is my only solace in life. Your sudden interruption of this precious time is not only a breach of loyalty between sovereign and vassal but also seems discourteous for old acquaintances. Therefore, please withdraw today. I will hear your words after the princess's birthday banquet. But I cannot do that. Your Majesty knows why I am here. It would be meaningless after the princess's birthday banquet. Guards, is anyone there? The right general is now. Stop, are you really going to do this, brother? Everyone in the palace knows the reason for this martial arts competition being held. Any decision related to the princesses, no, Miri's marriage should not be taken so hastily. Moreover, the candidates are land-based creatures. Princess, no, Miri is. Yes, she is your niece. I suppose you could not hold back your anger. You should have approached me straightforwardly from the start, instead of saying it's presumptuous and all, even a passing bird would laugh at you, you fool. Are you perhaps feeling awkward after not showing your face for so long? Anyway, I cannot agree with this. If it's just for the festival, isn't it enough to let her participate? Although she's still inexperienced, she has potential. Even if winning is difficult, if she gains enough experience. But it won't, which is why I oppose it. The chances of her winning are slim to none, becoming yokai queen is not the issue. The problem is if Miri becomes attached to the land and wants to stay there. What are you talking about? She's only interested in martial arts and fighting. Why would she? She hasn't been out there yet. Once she steps out and breathes in the dusty air of the land, she'll eventually realize that the air she's been breathing here all along is unbearably stifling and salty. I felt the same way when I was young. Even though I started because I was forced to, when the harsh and grueling journey ended, I surprisingly felt regret. If I weren't the only child of the former king, I might have married some woman and rooted myself on land forever. Maybe it's a hereditary condition in our family. Come to think of it, don't you know? My mother was human. Humans were once sacrificed to the sea as tributes. Previous kings and other sea dragon kings often married humans or land monsters in the past. Dragon blood is stronger than you think. Even Miri, who's your niece, doesn't have those ugly shark teeth. That's one reason for bringing in a land-based consort. After all, ruling as a monarch will be Miri's responsibility. By placing a strong partner from the land beside her, her desire to leave might naturally subside. Becchio. I'll tolerate it just this once. Since you address me not as a lord but as an elder brother, I'll also treat you not as a vassal but as a younger brother and overlook this just this once. But if you bring up that topic again, I won't forgive you, even if you're my brother. I see, if even you speak to me like this, then it seems everyone hopes for him to succeed. Just like I firmly decided before, that will never happen. He is unfit. Even if he wasn't imprisoned for his crimes, he would never have inherited the throne. He's not fit to lead, let alone to be a king. He was never suitable to be a leader. When I think about it, my father had quite good luck with children. Having one like me, huh? Lady Gu. Is everyone here today just to ruin my drinking time? Wait, you were supposed to be the guide for the martial arts competition, right? Well. The princess has conveyed a royal command on your behalf, saying His Majesty summons you. Hey, Becchio. Yes. What do you mean, yes? Hurry and stop her now. Before the palace turns upside down. Demon binding rope. The key differences that set this technique apart from a simple binding are twofold. First, the rope's material is made from a goblin club, which transmits the user's strength with 100% efficiency. He might need to improve in many other aspects, but Saiwu's physical prowess is exceptional. Especially his brute strength, which can be considered among the top tier of the yokai in the Korean peninsula. The talent bestowed by his goblin heritage is more intuitive and distinct than anything else, to the point that even the higher-ranked species cannot match it. If only it could end here, it would be perfect, but it ultimately depends on the other side. With this type, even if they are stronger than me, I can suppress them like this. Whether people are around or not, this is still a palace, so there must be some alarm system, and if I hold on, someone will come. But if she is like those two, it would be impossible to keep her bound in this state for long. Fortunately, Saiwu's wish came true. Blue Dragon, one of the 4 divine beasts known to protect the East and the family of the Dragon King who rules the East Sea. Not only can they control the water and sea, but also phenomena like storms, thunderstorms, and lightning are said to be under its command, but this is not entirely true. Dragon King, only those at the pinnacle among dragons can wield this kind of limited privilege. The inherent abilities of the dragon race are surprisingly simple and combat-oriented. So, strength alone won't cut it. Alright, then I'll show you something fun. Yokai force typically refers to the quantity of demonic energy possessed by a yokai. But just as important as the quantity are the output and purity of the demonic energy. For a yokai that possesses both, they can exhibit lethal power just by releasing their demonic energy, even without any special magic. Damn, and the race that holds both to the highest degree from birth is the dragon. I've gone too far, haven't I? Rather than the magic, it's more like a natural function, as effortless as breathing. But I had no choice. You made me too excited. Dragon pressure symbolizes the race that stands at the apex of the sea. I knew this would happen. Serves you right, idiot. I thought things might be different this time, but no, it's the same old story as before, isn't it? Acting as if you're something, as if you could overcome anything, only to end with, it's a pity, I still lack strength. Siowa. There's no way I would be here. My body and mind are in shambles, probably dying in some corner of the human world. All because I was cleaning up the mess from that fight you started recklessly without knowing your place. Well, you wouldn't have known. You only acted with pure and selfless intent. Would you have been so reckless if you knew it would turn out like that? In the end, you couldn't save a single person. Innocent people got caught up in the aftermath and almost met a terrible fate. And your friend, Yushin. I wonder what he had to give up because of you. Back then, Yoshihiro and Yushin, what were they talking about? What could they have discussed to bring down such a strong kid? Something must have happened at their place. The deal you and Bai Hyung made back then, or rather. Because you couldn't handle it and backed out like a coward. So, how will it end this time? What luck will our brave and kind Saiwu encounter now? Who will take responsibility and clean up this mess for you? No. That's not. Then stop sitting there like a pitiful wretch and get up, you loudmouth pig. At least show actions that match your endless resolve. Go and fight like a yokai. Until either you or that thing dies. That's your minimum obligation. Still in that state. I didn't expect him to be this broken. Was I expecting too much? Oh. You can keep going, right? What the heck, that surprised me. Of course. Gladly, as long as you want. The change is different from what Saiwu has experienced so far. It wasn't a new power or skill, only her inner realm has changed. Yo. Saiwu needed two things. If it was an attack that he's not going to be able to defend perfectly, the determination to accept and avoid instant death and the inability to move. And his healing power that keeps it from being a self-inflicted defeat. Arg. Experiencing the goblin bat was fun, but I can't lose either. Focusing the super-dense yokai energy into a point as small as possible, forming it into a bead. And to release that artificial compression once and for all. Bang! Bursting Dragon Jade. The Bursting Dragon Jade is a little different from the usual yokai techniques. Rather than a finely honed technique, it's a bomb created using the properties of pressure. The resulting explosion is an indirect result of the pressure from the chi. You can surround yourself with pressure to protect yourself, but even that's not perfect. Unless it's an enemy you're willing to risk your life to destroy, using this technique is strictly prohibited. But for this girl right now, it's probably irrelevant. If it's simply a fight against a strong opponent, it's happened time and time again. The Dragon King's only cherished successor. Her curiosity and eagerness led many of the strongest men in the Dragon Palace to become her teachers and duel opponents. However, limitations are bound to arise. It goes without saying, but no one takes on the princess as an opponent. A suffocating and unpleasant thirst has been building up inside without her realizing it. A thirst that has gone unfulfilled for decades, only now being quenched for the first time. She was too desperate to care about the prohibition. The motivation may be different, but he is just as desperate. His body was only left as skin clinging to his skeleton due to his exceptional durability and regenerative powers. Even after going way beyond their limits, there was a glint of obsession, no, a will that borders on insanity. The goblin bat is a weapon that changes shape and texture according to the user's needs and envisioning. He can use it to reinforce weakened bones and replace torn muscles. Amazing. Neither for the mind nor the body, but just solely for the sake of pure animosity. For the first time in her life, the princess of the Dragon Palace felt both horror and elation. At the killing intent of her enemy. I honestly didn't expect it to get this intense, but no matter how it ends, I don't think I'll ever regret it. I wish it could go on like this forever, but that would be too much to ask, wouldn't it? Well. This is it. I was in a hurry, but seeing how things are, this became simpler than I thought. I'm going to ask only one question. You're a man, right? It's not that important, but I want to see my grandchildren as early as possible. I heard you are a half-breed between a goblin and a human, but I didn't hear what gender you are. Judging by your physique, you seem to be a man. If it turns out you're a woman, that would be a big faux pas. Actually, just saying this might already be rude. It seems our Mira was quite rude to you at first. Thank you for playing along. Saiwu, in his current state, can't fully grasp the situation. I think there's a misunderstanding. I'm not here to do anything to you. I'm here to stop this fight. His instincts and intuition clearly recognize that. I know this situation isn't your fault. Calm down and please put down that sword. Wait a minute. Do I really seem that unreliable? Your Majesty. What the heck? How dare this mere land dweller not know his place? Come on. Don't make a fuss, Becchio. If you had something to do, you should have come faster than me. Now, your interference only makes me look like an incompetent fool who can't handle this alone. By the way, it seems like your reason and intelligence have been temporarily paralyzed. Despite that, to bring out his true form shows remarkable mental strength. I've been around for over 1,000 years, and to have the strength to pierce through my scales is quite astonishing. Your strength isn't bad. The way you handle it is excellent. But well, I once had quite an interest in grappling or wrestling too. I wasn't as skillful as those who are naturally talented, though. TSK. So that's what it is. I thought you just wrapped it around your body for support. You've done something far more cruel to yourself than I thought. You've reinforced yourself deeply, down to your bones. Beyond the negative impact on your body, each movement must be excruciatingly painful. You wouldn't have done this just to match my daughter's tune. I don't know what you've been through to be pushed this far. But you're a fool too. Go take care of Mira, Becchio. No need to rush, just lay her down in her chambers and call the royal physician. She's just temporarily exhausted. Thanks to this friend holding back, her vital points are completely unharmed. No way, are you considering him as Myra's future husband? I was planning to, until just a moment ago, but I'm not sure. For now, I really like him. If properly nurtured, he could be a great asset to Mira. He seems quite handsome too. But I don't know if this friend will be satisfied with just being my son-in-law. East Sea Dragon Palace, Palace Hospital. If I say I'm sad because my father died, that would be a blatant lie. Honestly, it doesn't feel real. No. It might even be a moment I've been looking forward to. No matter how evil someone is, they're said to have two sides, but that didn't apply to him. He was a failure, as a parent, as a spouse, and even as the leader of the Bureau of Sacred Waters. He only inherited his position and barely had the minimal ability to maintain it. You got caught and beaten for taking my book again. I told you it's fine to take it, but not to get caught. I didn't get caught because I said it was your book. I'm not in the mood right now, so if you're going to nag, just go to sleep. Geez, you took someone else's book and burned it, and you're so brazen about it. Fine, I'll go eat alone then. What? Where did you get that? Is that all? No other flavors? I went up to Seoul for a bit. I ran with flash step to keep it from melting. So, how are your calves? I heard you cried a lot when you got hit. Huh? Oh, that? The sound was heard all the way outside. No need to worry. I made it loud on purpose. I've been punished so many times, getting hit on the calves is pretty lenient. Still, I need to react a bit. If I stay silent, Danyang Nuna will end up getting punished too. You know how he is. Geez. Even so, he is your father, what does it matter? A victim of domestic violence can't even say this much about the perpetrator. Honestly, I've been quite generous considering what he's done. From what I heard from the aunts, it was worse in the past. My father didn't even have much talent, right? When grandfather passed away, he quickly took the position of head and consumed all the old elixirs in the house himself. Only then did he barely become competent enough to act as the family head. The aunts were really regretful when they talked about you, uncle. Those were gathered for a once-in-a-thousand-years talent to save the world. They said if you had taken even half of it, he wouldn't just be a shaman, he could have become a deity instantly. Aunt Sojung and Aunt Yunbi were holding hands and crying, saying, if Jijin had been born a bit earlier, geez, those women say the darndest things. And you're seriously listening to that? It's something that couldn't have happened, and the aunts are just wistful about it. I wouldn't be much different from your father. If you want to feel regret, it shouldn't be for me. What, why did you stop talking? Do you know the 2 ways to make someone really angry, uncle? The first is to stop talking in the middle, and the second is because there's no point in talking about it. If there's regret, it's not about me, but about you, young master. Young master. Something smeared on you, huh? Don't hate your father so much. If you look closely, he's a pitiable person too. He wanted to become strong, not for his own safety or benefit, but because he had something he desperately wanted to do. And to do that, he needed to reach a certain strength. But once he grew stronger, he realized he wasn't as capable as he thought, so he must have been tormented the most. That's what they call running the washing machine, uncle. If you try to scrub everything clean, is there truly anyone bad in this world? Suppose. You're obviously right. But when you become someone great in the future. If your father comes to his senses and asks for your forgiveness, I hope you'll remember what I said today. When that happens, you'll be the only one who can forgive him. And I believe that day will come without a doubt. No, thanks. I don't expect an apology from him, and even if it comes, would it be sincere? If I ever take over the Bureau of Sacred Waters, I'll kick him out. My thoughts haven't changed, now or ever. Considering what he did to my mother, I would never forgive him. The night before a week ago I can imagine what happened without even seeing it. He must have stubbornly dragged innocent people into a trap. Without the ability to overcome it alone, filled with groundless arrogance. But why is it that? Even though the possibility of me forgiving my father was almost zero, the fact that the possibility is completely gone makes me feel endlessly frustrated now. Your Majesty, we can. Enough, how hard is it to lay him down? His condition isn't immediately serious. Why don't you check on the others outside first? Oh, did I interrupt your rest? No, no. Did I just hear you being called Your Majesty? Sorry to trouble you, please rest well. Is he really the Dragon King? He seems too carefree for that. By the way, is he from the Dragon Palace? Or a tournament participant? He's in pretty bad shape. Even if he's a yokai, can he regenerate in that state? So, just lie down, will you? You don't have anything to do until tomorrow anyway. Stubborn as always. Huh. Aren't you Saiwu's friend? Mr. Kim Yushin, right? I heard from Saiwu that you're helping with Seolwa's exorcism. Even if that wasn't the case, I wanted to come and say hello. Certainly, that night, wasn't she the new yokai alongside Saiwu? Thank you so much for stepping in this time. It must be really difficult and dangerous for you as well. No, not at all. It's not something I usually do. Pardon? Ah, well, Choi Saiwu earnestly asked for my help, and I owed him a favor. He asked me to keep his visit here a secret, although, in this situation, it seems impossible not to get caught. Owing favors? Yeah, right. By the way, is the person lying there your companion? No, no, I came alone, I just met him earlier. I see, that's a relief. Well, not really, but... So, you're also here for the treasure of the Dragon Palace? Did you get through the preliminaries safely? Well, I've racked up a few victories. We'll only know if I can pass the preliminaries, once it's all over. There's no point in dragging out this conversation. At this point, my body can recover on its own. This could get really complicated. I should go talk to Choi Saiwu quickly and try to withdraw if possible. Ah. Are you okay? What did the doctor say? Is there any issue? There shouldn't be any problems. I know my body well. I'll be recovered by tonight at the latest. Exactly. That's the strange thing. For a yokai with your level of spiritual power, it shouldn't take this long to regenerate a single wrist. Well, resilience isn't exactly a virtue of our clan. But behind you. Ah. Over there is Mr. Goyoshi, a friend of Saiwu's. His name is Kim Yushin. He's helping with Seolwa's matter. Mr. Yushin, this is Goyoshi. He represents the Hyanmu clan in the tournament and knows Saiwu. This is exactly not what I was asking for. The person lying there, no matter how I look at it, it seems to be Choi Saiwu. As she claims to be a friend, Solmi wouldn't be so composed in this situation. She definitely doesn't know about this yet. I'm thirsty. Could you bring me a glass of water? Sure. You prefer it cold, right? Yes. Now then. With the chatterbox gone for a moment, let me ask you this simply. Did you also encounter the dark spirits and get injured? Wait a minute, dark spirits. What's that? From my perspective, I know this is an out-of-the-blue question, but what happened on your end? I see. I haven't told my group yet. But the yokai that took my hand, and possibly their companions too, might be the dark spirits. My companion, Solmi's worry was valid. Even if regeneration isn't my specialty, it shouldn't take this long to heal a single wrist. Of course, a mere slow recovery wouldn't be enough evidence. I also felt something unusual when I was facing them. Given our clan's ability to sense energy, I'm quite confident in reading and analyzing the opponent's aura. What I sensed from them wasn't just something that's unfamiliar from a minority or a distant monster. It was something far stranger and more ominous than Choi Saiwu, a half yokai. So, did you face both of them? I wish. I intended to finish them both off, at least in my own way. Even if my judgment was wrong, it would have been justified given my participation in the martial arts tournament. But, it seems I underestimated them. They were far more dangerous than I anticipated. I should have either gone all out from the start or not have confronted them at all. Considering it was an impossible situation from the beginning, the answer was already clear. Anyway, I only realized it after losing an arm. After devouring my arm, they became stronger. Even though my spiritual core remained unaffected, just consuming the blood and flesh of my hand took away some of my power. An abnormal ability that clearly ignores the natural laws. If it's indeed the dark spirits, shouldn't we inform others right now? Even from your yokai's perspective, the dark spirits are targets for eradication. We should, but the situation is delicate. If this were the human realm, we could report it to the judge through the communication channel. But here in the Dragon Palace, we can't. You know that. The Dragon Palace is a strictly controlled alternate world. Entry and communication are strictly regulated. And, the real problem lies somewhere else. Before the martial arts began, when the guiding official verified our identities. The two names I heard were the names of people I knew, who were already declared dead. A week ago, during a night hunt for monsters invading the Korean peninsula, many didn't return and were reported missing. Using the names and clans of those individuals to disguise themselves. Wait a minute, it's impossible. If they were to enter the Dragon Palace under false pretenses, it would be foolish to impersonate someone from the Korean peninsula. Even though the Dragon Palace has no interaction with the outside, they would at least know the members of prestigious clans. Exactly, that's why even Choi Siwoo, despite the risk of arousing suspicions, didn't assume someone else's identity from the Bureau of Sacred Waters. Even a simple letter for cross-verification from the Dragon Palace would clearly reveal that Choi Siwoo's identity is fake. However, if I claim that he's my personal servant, the Dragon Palace would have to take my word for it. Honestly, if I weren't a guardian of the Sacred Water Bureau, such a trick wouldn't have worked. But entering with a fake identity without any trickery. It means either the Dragon Palace is extraordinarily incompetent, or there's an accomplice inside the Dragon Palace who turned a blind eye to their fake identities. Yeah, it's unsettling, but that's the most plausible guess for now. I don't know why. But there are forces inside the Dragon Palace that are cooperating with the dark spirits. And it's certainly not for a good cause. That's why I'm holding off on informing my group and withdrawing from the competition for now. No point in panicking. Even if one has great power, they'd need the help of Dragon Palace officials to operate in here. If there's a conspiracy going on, even if we withdraw, they wouldn't let us out quietly. If only I had known it would get this complicated. Sorry, I'm really late, huh? Since it's a clinic, they didn't have any cold water, so I fetched it from outside. Oddly enough, there's a well in the Dragon Palace too. Hold on, let me pour it. The water is really cool and delicious. You did well, but I don't need it. Take care of this guy instead. Of course, both of you, but, brother, what do you mean by this guy? I told you not to speak informally to people you've just met. It's one thing with Siwoo, but... Well, I don't really mind, Yushin. Where is this? Are you feeling better? What do you mean by better? You crazy bastard. How did this happen? Indeed, the water isn't bad. At 7:58 p.m., Korean Peninsula time, the preliminary round of the martial arts tournament ends. Based on the performance of each group after the end, a total of 8 groups are selected for the main event. Goyoshi and Solmi, Kim Yushin and Choi Siwoo have all made it to the main event. I'm exhausted. All participants who advance to the main event are considered VIPs of the Dragon Palace and rested for the feast the next day. Many of them could sense that the course and level of the tournament were far beyond their expectations. But no one could foresee the unprecedented crisis that was about to hit them and the Dragon Palace. It's lukewarm. But it seems to keep heating, though. I thought soaking in hot water would make me feel better, but it seems my presence has only cooled it down. That makes sense. Chien ate the Hyanmu. Even one hand would be tough to digest for most monsters. Tonight is going to be chilly. I feel a bit sorry for you, Eileen, because of me, you can't soak in hot water. It's fine. I actually like bathing in cold water. Don't worry about me, just stay warm until you get heated up. We've only known each other for a few days and just started talking today, but Eileen seems a bit different from the others. Different. The ones under Bai Hyung's care are all somewhat off, aren't they? Including me. They all have different interests, making conversation with them difficult. Some even stick around even when they're ignored. Hey, you look strong. Want to fight? It'd be great if I could eat them, but Bai Hyung's only rule is not to fight among ourselves. Actually, that might be the most annoying part. The dark spirits are born from the desires of all living beings in the world. Eileen is calm and relaxed, not restless and anxious. I really envy that. Therefore, each one's abilities and mindset are connected to the desires at their core. Chien's core is hunger. In the distant past, it was said to be an ability that could devour everything on earth, even the sun. People and monsters called it by various names, greed. You look tired, Chien. Are you hungry again? You ate 20 today. Thanks to my generosity. So I thought I'd had enough for today, but I guess not. I keep thinking about that guy. His hand was more delicious than all the others combined. I should have pushed harder and bitten off his forearm. I can't wait until tomorrow. If I do, I might really end up eating Eileen. Excuse me for a moment. Enjoy your meal, Chien. Eileen. Sorry, it's a bit noisy. I wanted to let you sleep longer. My friend is doing something that's a bit embarrassing. You might find it awkward to watch. Let's continue having fun like earlier tonight. Approximately 16 hours until the rebellion in the Dragon Palace, East Sea. So, are you hurt anywhere? No, except for some itching. It's not particularly uncomfortable to move, and my energy seems to be recovering smoothly. The breathing technique and posture you taught me are really useful. Although slow, it helps in recovering my yokai power. That's good. The discomfort Yushin is feeling stems from what he knows as common sense. For yokai, the regeneration of their bodies is an indicator of their condition. Just as lungs distribute the oxygen absorbed through breathing throughout the body via the bloodstream. A yokai's body prioritizes the distribution of its yokai power for physical recovery. Therefore, the situation where healing power doesn't activate is evidence that the yokai has suffered a fatal wound. Is it because Siwoo has human blood mixed in him? Or is it because he's a goblin? Although it's 100 times better than being on the brink of life and death. From such a disastrous state, it's strange that he looks perfectly fine, even though his skin hasn't regenerated yet. Hey, Yushin. Yes. From now on, I have to do something that you might not like. If you're uncomfortable, I'll do it where you can't see. Something I might not like. You'll know when you see it. those. These are the yokai power beads of the yokai I defeated in the preliminary rounds. Originally, I was just going to keep them until this martial arts tournament ended. You gave me a mask, and I thought you wouldn't like seeing me eat this. But the mask is broken, and I overheard the conversation you and Goyu had earlier. Tomorrow, no, even after a little while, no matter what happens, in my current state, I won't be at my full strength. Especially against dark spirits. I've fought against a dark spirit before, even though it was only one.